Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today is September 13th, 2025, and do you know what that means? It's only 9 days until fall, or the autumnal equinox as I like to call it. But yeah, so welcome back to my channel, friends, family, and maybe even new people to the channel. If you don't know, I'm Billy. Well, if you're friends and family, obviously you'd know I'm Billy. Actually William, but people just call me Billy for short. Hi, and welcome to my channel. But yeah, if you're a newbie here, I love my garden and like plants and trees, and even like astrology and spiritual stuff and things like crystals and the metaphysical properties that go behind them. But enough of the ranting and babbling. This could be like the little intro to the video. I'm gonna go outside in the garden and give you guys like a final summer garden tour, because like I said, in 9 days from now, it's gonna be the start of autumn. So I thought it would be a really good opportunity now to show you guys how the trees and the shrubs are looking in the late summer. Because I think that my favorite time of year is the spring, like when all the fresh new growth is bursting out of the ground. I just think it's so glorious. Whereas I do like fall for like the colder temperatures, and like it's cooler in the day and it's not so sweltering like in the summer. But the plants and stuff in late summer can start to look a little disheveled or like sunburnt, you know, from the sun, the UV rays beating down on them all summer. And this year we had a heat wave too, and like drought. So I was having to go around the garden and water everything at least once a week. And it takes over an hour to actually water like all the trees and shrubs, including like the flower beds and like the garden beds. But yeah, enough ranting there. Subscribe if you're new, and smash the like button if you enjoy this garden tree tour. But I'll meet you outside. Oh, and before we go outside, I just wanted to mention, you know, like if you're looking for trees for your garden, this would be a really good video for seeing the different types and the different kinds of trees. And, you know, everyone has their own personal preference as to what kind of trees they think looks beautiful, or like, you know, like there's some like a corkscrew witch hazel that's all like spirally and like looks kind of Halloween-y, or some trees look more like elegant, like a Cupressus nootkatensis, or Nootka for short, as I like to call them, Nootkas, and that have an almost waterfall, very pretty appearance, and you know, depending on your style and your own personal preference, depending on what kind of garden vibes you're going for, there's so many different kinds to choose from. So I just wanted to take you outside in the garden and show you all the different kinds that we got. So, and let's keep track. Let's see, I'm gonna like label, I'll put like the scientific name. If I can't remember the scientific name, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen with a counter. And just take a guess before watching the video. Maybe put in the comment section how many trees do you think we're gonna have total, because I don't even know. I just we do have quite a few though. So now we'll go outside and I'll give you the tour, and hopefully you get inspired and for some plants that you might want to add to your garden at home. We'll go outside. Yeah. All right, so we're outside in the garden now. Give you a second to look at this, see if you can guess what it is. It is a lilac tree, or lilac shrub, that's actually about at least maybe 20-25 feet tall. Really, really large shrub, and it's doing really well. It gets pink flowers in like the early summer, and it's pretty cool. And we got some guest stars in our video there. There's Marley and Timber and Topaz. So they'll probably be accompanying us around in the garden, but this is a beautiful lilac tree or shrub. It's not in flower obviously, but still very pretty nonetheless. Thought I would start with that one. We have blue dune grass planted on the side here, and right here we have some oh goodness, the name has escaped me. Aconitum, and that flowers in like late fall, which is really, really cool. But in the middle there, the tree, if I walk underneath the canopy of it, this is a silk tree, and it's all done blooming, but it's got these little seed pods, because it is, I'm pretty sure, a member of the Fabaceae family, or legumes, because it's got these little pods on it. And yeah, it's a very pretty tree. It gets little pink pom-poms in the springtime. It has a very tropical look about it. I really, really like it. It's not a very long-lived tree. I think its lifespan was only something like 20 to 30 years, so pretty short-lived for a tree, but very beautiful. Love it. And then here we have an Acer pseudoplatanus. It's actually a mutation of a Norway maple, because you can see here the leaves. They're a little bit sunburned. I'm just trying to pick out one that's not too sunburned to show you guys. Oh, here's a good one. And yeah, you can see by the shape of the leaf that it's like a Norway maple, but it's a pseudoplatanus because it's like a mutation. And you can see it's got these cool little spots on the leaves, like freckles, and every leaf is different because the speckling, it has a little bit of sunburn here and there, like it's gotten a little crisp from the summer, but really love this tree. I think it's so cool. Oh, and the coolest thing about it is the undersides are like an orangish purple. Very cool. Kind of, it gives the tree, when you look through, like if you look at the leaves the normal way versus looking like up through the canopy, it makes it kind of like a pumpkin color. I just really like that. Acer pseudoplatanus. This one is called a forsythia. You can remember that by, you know, it's not for George. It's forsythia. Really cool plant. I don't know what happened here. It's got some dry leaves, but most of it is doing really well. And this produces really beautiful, bright yellow colors in the early spring, which I think it's one of the first things to flower in springtime. So very cool. Forsythia. All right, and then there's been no Photoshop or any image manipulation. This is just how the camera wanted it to be. And you can see that they're pink. I'll give you a second to try to think, what could this be? It's not plastic or fake, it's a real tree. It's one of my favorites of all of the trees. Tristan got me this for a birthday a few years ago, and it's actually been growing really well. It's a pink tri-beech, and I absolutely love this one. We got it planted with a little owl at the base there, and a metal cage to protect it from those pesky rabbits, because they chew on the base of the trees sometimes, and that super pisses me off when they do that. But as I'm sure a lot of gardeners can relate to that. But yeah, it's got super pretty foliage, pretty leaves. It's really nice. One of my faves. Tri-beech. It looks the best in like early spring, but it still looks pretty cool now. Okay, and this is called leadwort, which just goes to show you that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, you know, like it's kind of a gross name, leadwort, but really beautiful plant, super blue flowers, and then the seed pods have like a reddish tinge to them. So when they're in flower with seeds, it really gives a really cool contrast of colors. And I just think It's gorgeous. That's one of my favorite plants. It's not a tree though, so this doesn't count for the numbers there, but really cool plant. All right, and then this is called a chaste tree, or sometimes called vitex. It's really pretty. It has a few branches that have like died on it, like these ones, which that looks horrible, but most of it is doing pretty good there. And it gets these really pretty, well, they've already gone to seed, unfortunately, so I can't show you the flowers, but these are like the remnants of the flowers, and they were like a purpley blue color, very nice. And it's done blooming for the season, but its leaves still look really nice, and it's super drought tolerant, so it didn't really mind the drought that we had. But some dieback on it still, but overall I think it's doing pretty well. And yeah, so this is chaste tree. Then here we have a rose of Sharon, which is super beautiful. It's mostly done blooming for the season, but it is still blooming, so I thought I would show you guys the flowers. Really pretty. Nice pretty pink. Trying to remember what kind this was. Merlot or Merlin or something like that. Really nice though. It's a type of rose of Sharon. And they're really super pink when they first bloom, and then as they wilt, they turn kind of grayish blue, which I think looks really pretty, especially when the field in the background is that golden yellow, almost harvest time in that field. I'm pretty sure it's soy. And then just in case any of you are actually wondering, I thought I'd show you. I'm pretty sure that that's soy, so cool. Nice golden yellow. All right, and then next up, we have a chi tree, which is super cool. I actually got this off of Etsy. That leaf isn't looking super hot at the moment, and that one's got a little bug bite on it, but you know, like I said, in 9 days it's going to be fall, so this has endured like all of summer, and overall it's done fantastic. I mean, I ordered this off Etsy because it gets fruit, and it's called a chi tree, which normally it's found in like Japan area and China and stuff like that, and I'd never heard of it, and apparently the fruit are supposed to be edible, so I just thought it was like a must-have in the garden if it would actually survive here. Sorry, it's not focusing. Tapping and tapping, but I guess that's as in focus as it gets. It's kind of fuzzy. Maybe that's why it doesn't look in focus, because they're kind of fuzzy. But yeah, this is a chi tree and super cool. And that's my little boy Timber. But yes, continuing there, we got magnolia, which obviously this is done blooming because they bloom in like the early spring there, right? So really nice though. It's one of my faves. I love the magnolia, and there's so many different colors and different types. There's more tree form, and then there's more shrub type. This type is actually a cross between, I'm trying to remember the name. It was a cross between the tree form and the shrub form. So it ends up making like a little tree, which is a little more bushy and filled in, which I just thought was cool. Magnolia. It's obviously not very big at the moment, but it'll get there. See Marley running in the back. All right, and then this is a Japanese maple, and yes, it is supposed to look like this. It's called a, what was this one called? Purple Ghost. And we got Topaz rolling around. But yeah, it's gotten a little sunburned, but it survived summer, like, you know, the solstice, when it was super hot, and it was in a full sun location. This probably would have done better if it had a bit of shade, but its location in the middle of a field, it doesn't get any shade at all. So it might have a bit more vibrant of a red color if it was in shade. From what I read, a lot of sources say that its red color is supposed to be the best in full sun, but I don't know. Like, it looks a little rustic to me. Like, if you Google purple ghost and look up pictures of it, it usually looks a bit redder than this. But I suppose in the early spring it does, it is a lot redder. It's just it kind of got a bit scorched from the heat of the summer. But it's really different if you compare it to the magnolia in the background there. It does have a really different foliage color. I just think that's so cool. All right, and then here we have a Crimson King Norway maple. It's a mutation with super dark leaves, almost black. If you ever see one that's kind of black, but not super black, that one's probably the Deborah or Deborah type, which is the original darker Norway type. The Crimson King is one of the more modern cultivars that's a little bit blacker, but both are super awesome. And if you look up through the upper canopy there, it's kind of got like a dark green olive color, so I just think is super unique. This tree hasn't done super awesome. It looks a little wilty, but you know, it's almost fall, so next year it will sprout out new leaves and it'll be all fresh and revived. But yeah, Crimson King Norway maple. Hey Marley! Whoop! Yes, here we have a dappled willow, which is super pretty. As you can see by the whitish foliage, it's got like a very nice glow about it. In the early spring and even up to the summer, it has a pink, like a salmon pink. It's so pretty. If you look up dappled willow, it's a much smaller form of willow. It doesn't turn into like a huge, ginormous type of willow tree. Although over time it can turn into a small tree. This one is more like a shrub at the moment, but and it doesn't have any of the pink color, but really pretty. Dappled willow. And then this tree has actually started turning like fall color. I'm not sure if that's from the drought, because we haven't really gotten cold, but this one is called a cutleaf hazel, burgundy cutleaf hazel. In the spring, the leaves actually come out kind of like a dark reddish purple. As the summer months progress, it does turn it's more of like an olive green than the camera is kind of showing. It's not quite as vibrant. It's more of like a dark olive color, which is super unique looking in the garden. I find that even though it's green, in the summer, the foliage still stands out because it's different. And it is a hazel, so it does produce edible hazelnuts. This one hasn't produced hazelnuts yet because it's not mature enough to, but eventually it should. And it's really cool. Most hazels don't have leaves like this. That's why this one is called cutleaf hazel. All right. Here is a type of pine. It's called an Austrian pine. It's this one's gotten quite big over the years. It's maybe almost 20 feet tall. It's pretty big. And the one thing about Austrian pines is they're very filled in and bushy. Like they aren't sparse like how a lot of other types of pines can be. They're very thick and filled in, which we were planting this, as you could hear the cars going by. We were planting these in the front yard so it would act as a bit of a windbreak or a shelter belt from the noise. But in the house, I do find that having all these trees in the front has really been successful in blocking a lot of the noise and the traffic. It's a little louder now because like I am outside and I am right by the road. But yeah, and then here we have sea buckthorn. which gets these beautiful orange berries. Sea buckthorn. All right, and then here we have one that is called Pinpoint Blue, Chamaecyparis. And yeah, it's Pinpoint Blue is the name there. And as you can see, it does have kind of a glauca bluish color. It's surrounded by cornflowers, which are an annual, which it wasn't through neglect. They're a true annual. So when they're done flowering, this is what happens to them. They just turn to like hay. But yeah, and I have to clear that and maybe burn. I'll keep the seeds, but maybe burn the dry brush, have a big fire. But back to the tree there. Yeah, it's super cool. I really love the glauca color, and I like the texture of it. It's got scale, so it's not spiky or anything like the spruce or pine trees. So it's really nice. All right, and then here we have a Chamaecyparis nootka-tensis, which is actually one of, I know I've said this a bunch of times, but it is one of my favorites because of look how like they just, it's like a waterfall. I just love how they, how it's like got a weeping form, and it is actually a natural tree that's found on the coastline, like in BC. So it's a native to like Canada. And it's really unique looking. It's got kind of like a Halloween vibe about it. And there's a bunch of different cultivars that have been made. Some that are more skinny and look a little more like Halloween-y. And some that are more filled in and look a little more elegant or bushy. But yeah, Nootka. All right, and then here we have Korean fir. Super interesting foliage on it. Very unique foliage because it's got like white on it. Well, it's green on one side and white on the other, but it's like furled upwards, so the white part is the part most exposed, which I think is really cool. It's very unique, and it produced cones. So, and you can see like how green it is and luscious, and how it's doing so well. And then like look at the grass. Like you could tell that we've had a drought because the grass is starting to turn yellow. I don't think it's quite as yellow as the camera is showing it. Like it does look a bit yellow in person, but it looks a little exaggerated on the video, like especially the contrast. But yeah, Korean fir. Here we got a mini hydrangea tree, a little shrub. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was like PG or but Ingrid, my mother-in-law got me this as a present for a birthday, and I super love this. It's so pretty. You can see that it's done really well. I've been watering it, so because a couple times its leaves did look droopy, and I was like, oh no, it needs water, because I haven't been watering the grass, and look how yellow the grass is. But yeah, hydrangea can come in lots of different forms. There's like a small type that actually dies down to the ground in the winter, and then there's a kind of shrub type, and there's even a tree type. So lots of variety. And this one I probably won't count in the tree tally because it is kind of a rather small shrub, and I have to be careful because it has thorns all over it. But it's called barberry, and it has these pretty little red berries on it. I just think that's so pretty, and it is looking a little sunburned, but most of the year it's got a really dark purple and pink color to it. And if you ever see that at a garden center, I would definitely recommend it. It's very nice. It's a barberry. This one is called the umbrella pine, which has super unique looking needles. Isn't it just so cool? It looks like little fireworks going off. I just think it's so pretty and very unique looking. And what's really cool about it is it's called umbrella pine, but it's actually a member of Sciapidae, something like that. And it's like the only surviving member of its family. So like there's no other types of it. Like it's the sole, it doesn't have any close relatives, but they call it umbrella pine just to simplify it, I suppose. Which I wish they wouldn't do that, because it actually makes it pedantic or kind of overly complicated than it need be. Instead of just calling it Sciapides or whatever, you know? But yeah, umbrella pine is its common name, and it's really neat. In Buddhist areas, they actually plant it near temples, as it's supposed to help ward off negative spirits or bad energy. So it's got a very metaphysical, spiritual aspect to it, and because it's a beautiful tree. So umbrella pine, or Sciapides. Okay, and then here we have a fire chief, fire chief cedar. I had to think for a moment there. It's got really neat small foliage, soft to the touch. It's not prickly, and it has kind of this amberish pink hue on some of the tips, and that's normal. That's not like dieback or because of drought or sunburn. That's just that's how this plant grows. It's got multicolor, and I think it's really pretty. Fire chief. Dun, da, da, da. And here we have a Piceas pungens, or blue spruce. This is actually one that we got at a Canadian Tire a few years ago, so it's grown since we've planted it, but it's got like a super glauca, very blue appearance. I think very reminiscent of like a Fat Albert, and that's not an insult. That's what it's literally called. They call it Fat Albert because it's really like round and filled in, and it's also like super glauca, or blue. Like glauca just means blue, kind of a whitish blue, but it's done really well. Definitely one I would recommend. And if you're looking for like a Fat Albert or super blue one, like those can cost anywhere from like starting at around $100 to like upwards of $200-300 for like a pretty small specimen, whereas they have random assorted varieties at Canadian Tire in like the fall, even winter months, like for Christmas and stuff, little Christmas trees. And that's when we got this one. It was only like maybe $15-20 instead of $200, and I think it's just as pretty. Hey Topaz, what do you think? Oh, she likes it. She says it's so pretty. Yeah? But then onward to the next one. I figure I'll show you guys the Serbian spruce, which is, I know I say this again and again, but is gorgeous because it has a multicolor needle to it. The upper side is green, and the upper side on this one is white, and the underside is green. It's the opposite of how the Korean fir is. And look there, there's some little beetles. Isn't that pretty? They're little blue beetles. But yeah, to focus, let's not be too ADHD here. Yeah, the Serbian spruce, you guessed it, is from around Serbia, Bosnia, and Herzegovina, which, yeah, it's also endangered tree. That the patches of it that exist, it's estimated that it was something like a little over 4,000 kilometers squared was how much of the forest that has these in it. So it's a endangered tree, but I really love this tree, and it's endangered, so I feel like we're helping to protect them. And then here we have a white pine, It's kind of a baby. It's actually, it goes up a little bit past my belly button. So it's not a super big tree by any means, but it'll get there. It'll grow. It's just a baby at the moment, but I got this one at the same thing, the Canadian Tire assorted variety. It was like $15-20, and it's got that glauca, it's got like a really strong glauca, where I forget the name of it, but there is a specific cultivar that's grown for the glauca color, and it's like expensive. So just as a tip for the day, if you're looking for some of these more expensive types, you might be able to find them at the Canadian Tire assorted varieties. So yeah, white pine. I hope I've been saying pine and not spruce, because it's a pine, obviously, because the long needles, right? And it's nice and soft to the touch. And here we have an even smaller one, because this one doesn't even go up to my knee. This was a baby tree, a white pine, but you can see it's not quite as white as the other variety, because this one was actually grown from seed and is a native type. It's not like a mutant or anything like that, but it does have the white, like a little bit. It's just not quite as dramatic as the other one, but my nephew Caleb, shout out to Caleb there, he was growing some of these at like a farmer's market event at Manitoulin, and that's when we got this. So he grew this, and little white pine. And then here we have a Dawn redwood, which you can probably tell why they call it a redwood. The bark is kind of reddish. It's not showing up as red as it looks in real life, but it is reddish tinged. It's not an evergreen, so it does lose these kind of leaf needles. They're not really like a true needle, but they're not really like a true leaf. It's kind of like evolution in going from like an evergreen, like a conifer, to being like a deciduous, which is so cool from a biological perspective. It's just a baby, but I grew this one from seed, and I'm quite happy to say that it's growing really good. It's just a baby tree, but it'll get quite large over time. So if you do like the Dawn redwood, just make sure you have room for it, that you have space, and you don't plant this kind of tree too close to your house, because that could cause problems with like the roots and stuff, hurting your foundation, or water lines or gas lines. So yeah, but beautiful tree. It's one of the redwood families, and I'm going to show you some other types of them. All right, and do pardon the grass at the bottom. I know it looks a little unkept. Timber just went into the soy field. But yeah, this is a giant sequoia, which you can see it's not so giant at the moment. It's about the height of my kneecap off the ground. So, but this is a baby that I grew from seed, which if you've been following me for a while, you'd know that like I started these like 2-3 years ago, and they've just been babies. And this one I planted in the ground last year, and it survived winter. I did wrap it in burlap cloth just to protect it, but it survived, and it's done so well. I mean, it's got one little thing there that browned, but like other than that, like it's done fantastic. And it's like a giant sequoia, same as the type that are found at the Yosemite Park in the States there. And it literally grows into the world's largest tree by volume. Not by height, but by volume. And yeah, I just think they're super cool. So, and I love it even more because we grew it from seed. Like I saw it grow from just this little itty bitty speck into a tree, or a mini tree. But then I'll never get to see it be like fully grown and big and majestic like the ones at Yosemite. But I think that it's cool that it has that potential to grow into such a cool tree. And then here we got an apple tree, which is doing kind of poorly, but it lost a lot of its leaves through the drought, and we didn't get any apples this year. But I do love this tree, and hopefully we'll get apples next year. So yeah, poor apple tree, but it's doing okay. It's got some leaves, and it's almost autumn anyway. So, and then over here we got a giant mulberry tree, black mulberry. It's not a red mulberry, it's black mulberry, and it's an endangered type of tree. So it did have a little bit of damage because one of the branches actually broke there. There was a huge branch that me and Tristan had to cut into pieces, but I just thought I'd show you for scale. Like, it's a really big tree. The camera's maybe even looking at making it look smaller than it is. If we get topaz for scale, yeah, you can see it's a pretty big tree. And it does produce mulberries, but I'm not actually a huge fan. No offense, mulberry. They're okay, but they're not my favorite type of berry. Like, it has some berries, I can show you. They look a lot like a blackberry or like a raspberry kind of thing, or blackberry. I'll give it a try. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. All right, and then we got this one, which is so gorgeous. It's called Cupressus cashmeriana, or the Bhutan cypress, or cashmere cypress, which it's so pretty. I love the glauca color of it, and I'm in a zone 7A, and it was a little iffy if it would even be able to grow here, and it survived winter and had no dieback at all, and it's about 6 feet tall. It's about the same height as me, and like if I'm looking like eye level, that's the top of it there, and I actually maybe it's actually a little taller than me. It's a little taller than me, so maybe it's like 6'2", 6'3". And this was grown from a little seed at the exact same time that the giant sequoia was. And you can see this one grows much quicker. And I super love the color of the foliage, and the shape and form of it is so pretty. Doesn't the bark look cool too? Like, and this is one I grew from seed, so like, I'm like a proud papa. I'm just like, oh, I'm so glad that it's doing well. Cupressus cashmeriana. Right, and here we have a pawpaw. And it's actually making a pawpaw patch because it's spreading a little bit. But that doesn't actually bother me that it's spreading like that, because we originally planted like 2 or 3 of them. Like, you can see the big trunk there, and the other 2 died. This one survived because normally this type of tree doesn't like to be planted in full sun, like it will burn. But and the other 2, that's what happened. They got really bad sunburn, their leaves all crisped up, and then they died. This one got really sunburned, but not completely, and actually produced new leaves and adapted. So I just think that that's so cool, and it's done really well. Oh, sorry, jump scare if you're afraid of spiders. That's a pretty big spider too. Ah! Oh, bye-bye. But yeah, so the pawpaw there, it normally forms in like the under canopy of trees, like in the under canopy, in the understory of the tree. And if a tree or something falls, or like dies from old age, or forest fire or something, if an opening forms in the canopy, then it sprouts and grows quicker. But it never is usually like just plopped in the middle of a field, like its current location, in full sun with like no shade whatsoever. But this one's actually done really well. So we haven't gotten any fruit. It is supposed to produce edible fruit, which I just think is so cool. And yeah, if it ever does produce edible fruit, I'll let you guys know. But it's really neat. Pawpaw. Man, I'm not actually 100% sure, but I think this is a plum tree. We got this like 5 or 6 years ago, and it has grown into like this is at eye level for me. So it's probably like 20 feet tall. It's never produced any edible fruit for us, but really pretty tree. I'm pretty sure this was a plum. It's got some insect bites and all that, but you know, that's just a part of it. That's just a part of gardening. And then we got two different types of lilac that I'd like to share with you. This one is called a Wedgwood Blue, and you can see it's gotten really super sunburned and crisped on a lot of the leaves. It's not looking super hot to trot, if you know what I mean. It's got a bunch of crisped up. Well, that leaf just came right off, so oops. But Wedgwood Blue is lilac, and as the name says, it's kind of blue, which I just found that out this year. And because we went to a lilac festival with Tristan's mom there, and it was really, really fun. And we found some blue ones, and I never knew that they could be kind of bluish. They're really neat. This one's called Wedgwood Blue, and then this one over here is called Wonder Blue, and its leaves are actually even a darker green, and it's more blue. It's more of a true blue than the Wedgwood, but I think both of them are nice in their own ways. They both are doing a little but hopefully next year they'll have a fresh start, you know? So I think that's awesome. Here we have another type of Nootka, the Cupressus nootkatensis. You can tell because it's got the same kind of scale leaves, but the foliage it's different in its shape and its form. And this one is just called a Nootka glauca. If you Google that, glauca Nootka, it isn't really that blue, but coming off a little bluish on the camera, but in person it's kind of more of a green. Don't really know why they call it glauca, but it is really cool though. It's got a nice pyramidal form, and it's just a baby right now. It'll grow into a much larger tree over time. But yeah, the Nootkas they do come in a bunch of different varieties. There is the natural wild form, and then there's a lot of mutations or different cultivars that people have created. This is one of more of the mutations, not like a wild form, because it's much more filled in, but very interesting looking. And then here we have a type of juniper. It's a cultivar called Wichita, and it's got a very glauca white kind of blue about it. I really like this one. It does have some browning here at the bottom. You can see it's got brown. Those are branches that died. And when you get branches that turn brown like that, the whole branch you just got to snip it there, because that will not regrow. It's new. It will not heal. So you actually have to snip off those dead parts. So, but overall, it's done okay. It's done pretty good overall. It looks bluer in my shadow, eh? You can see from the sunset. But it's Wichita. And then here we have a Skywards pencil holly. And what I think is so cool about it is all of the branches just grow like perfectly straight up and down. And the leaves on it are so small. And you'd never think that that's a holly. It doesn't have the leaf shape of holly, but they are kind of waxy like a holly leaf, and it is a type of holly. Just all the branches grow straight up and down. Very cool. The sun is almost setting, so I got to make the most of the light. That's why it kind of looks pink. It's because the sun is set in there, but it's called Capitata yew, and it's got a very upward growth habit. Most yews are more bushy and rounded shaped, whereas this one's very vertical, up and down. Super cool. Yew Capitata. So here we have a purple ghost, kind of a brownish red at the top there, and at the bottom here is called Gold Mop False Cypress. And this is one, I know I've been saying this a lot, but this is one of my favorites. I don't even think the camera does this justice. Like, it looks much more of like a buttery yellow, like compared to the grass being green. It's like super yellow. Like, And yeah, gold mop, isn't that cool? Okay, so I already talked about this one. This is the Wichita blue juniper, but I just wanted to show you in comparison that this one is also a juniper, but look how different it is. This one's called Lime Glow. It's always hard for me to remember that, but I did remember because it's got like a bit of a yellow cast to it, but it's not as golden yellow as the gold mop, but it's different, you know. It's got its own shape and form, and I just think it's really neat looking. I like sharing these, so if any of you guys get inspired for plants that you might want to add to your garden, you know, like everyone's got their own personal taste and preferences, and I really like this one. I think it has a very cute shape and form, and the color is pretty good too. And then over here there is a viburnum, which gets these nice beautiful little red berries. I had a fire just the other night and some of the ashes got like carried by the wind and covered the leaves, but really bright, beautiful berries. This specific cultivar is called the lace cap viburnum because the flowers look very beautiful and not like the classical normal type of viburnum, but like almost like a hydrangea or something. Very different. Lace cap. But then even once it loses its lace cap flowers, it gets these gorgeous red berries. And this one doesn't take up too much room. It doesn't turn into a very huge, large tree, and is super beautiful. So this is one, if you have like a smaller yard or garden, I would really recommend this one because it's just, it's so beautiful in the spring and the summer and even up till fall. Because it's got the pretty berries and the beautiful lace cap flowers. And then over here is another type of viburnum, but the leaves, if you look, are actually like a completely different shape. Like if I compare them, they look, that's from the fire, the ashes from the fire there. But yeah, this is the lace cap type. And then this is still a lace cap, but it's called a double phylum viburnum. And the reason it's called double is because it produces two sets of flowers, one on each side here, whereas the lace cap and the normal type just produce it on one side of the branch and then another side in an alternating fashion, whereas this one produces double, which is so cool. And this is one of the world's few evergreens that has flowers. It's called a salt cedar. And it's just, look how gorgeous that is. Like, no Photoshop, no fakery. And like, look how pink and beautiful that is. Like, it's called salt cedar. And it's super, super drought tolerant. Like in nature, it naturally grows in like deserts and stuff. So, if you forget to water it, it wouldn't be a big deal. Because it's, once it gets its roots established, it's super drought tolerant and super pretty. Like this is another one that is like a top recommended plant because it's super unique looking and super beautiful. Like I love the pink. And oh my, I think the sun is like already set, so it's gonna start getting dark. I gotta speed this video up here. This is a catalpa tree with beautiful, gorgeous flower spikes. And thank you to Ingrid for this because it was a birthday present. And I love it. It's just gorgeous, and it's actually grown so much since she gifted it to me. Look how much it's grown. It's fantastic. All right, and then we got another blue spruce, a blue spruce. This one's a little bit different than the one that's planted in the front. It's not quite as glauca or white color as the one that's in the front there that looks like a fat Albert. But I love it. It's so cool. It's a little more sparse and open, but I like that. I like how they each have their own character and they're each distinctly their own, you know? Very pretty. All right, because we're losing light, it's starting to look not quite as green, but I promise you this is a very, very nice dark emerald green color. It's very nice. And this is called Rubra spicata, or red-tipped Norway spruce. And the reason is because in the spring, all of the tips of the new growth is a bright, fiery red. And it's one of the only evergreens to get red growth on the new needles. There are a few other species of evergreens that get red or purple cones, but this one gets them, the needles are actually red, which I just think is so cool. If you look up pictures of Rubra spicata in Google image search, you can see how beautiful it looks in the springtime. This red springtime color doesn't last too long. It literally only lasts about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and then it starts to turn back to green. And as it turns from the bright red to green, it actually kind of turns a chocolatey color when it's like half green, half red, because green and red make brown, right? So, and then it turns green. So, and then it just looks like a normal spruce tree. Because it can be red in the spring. Rubra spicata. And then here we have a weeping blue spruce, which again, this one we got from a Canadian Tire, so it wasn't very expensive at all. And it's a weeping form, so we've got it tied up to try to make it not droop over quite so much. Once it gets about like shoulder height, I will allow it to droop over completely, but it's a cool little mutation, blue spruce, but weeping form. And then right beside it here, we have another type of blue spruce. This one again is from the Canadian Tire, like assorted varieties. And I really liked the look of this one because it has that multicolor. Like it's got some glauca, some green. And it's very reminiscent of, there's one called the Montgomery blue spruce, which is a really like kind of expensive cultivar. Whereas like this one, if you get them from the Canadian Tire like assorted variety, like you can really find some cool ones. And then this one, I know you're thinking like, what happened to that? And it's okay, it didn't get sunburned, it's not dying. That's actually just how it looks. This one's called a Goldilocks Fault Cypress, and it's so golden yellow. I just love this one. I think it's so unique looking, and it's just a baby right now, but as it grows and gets more mature, it'll just be even more breathtaking. It's a gorgeous specimen tree. I'm not sure if he's sleeping or if he's dead, but he's not moving. But yeah, that's a cool bush, eh? I wouldn't really call that a tree, but it's a pretty bush. I actually forget the name of it at the moment, but I'll put the tag or the name at the bottom here. And this is a purple smoke bush. Really cool because it's got super dark leaves. They're not bright green, even with some like red pink edging, which is really neat. And here we have a black lace elderberry. Gorgeous. And they're so shiny and waxy. Really nice little shrub. And then here we have a licorice plant, which, yes, it's actually, if you look up licorice plant, the original people made it from the root of the licorice plant. As compared to most licorice that you get at like the dollar store or a gas station, is going to be just like chemicals and probably won't actually contain any real licorice. This was a little cutting. I took a little clone from one that was by a hiking trail and cloned it, planted it here by the fence, and look how much it's grown. Like, it's probably about 9 or 10 feet tall. Like, this is my eye level, and like if I walk right up to it, that's my eye level, and then that's like looking up. So probably about 10 feet tall. And yeah, I have to give it a pruning or a trim because this side branch is actually like sticking out into the grass. Whereas I might as well keep the big branch that's like right beside the fence and just keep that, right? Because when I go by with the mower, this kind of gets in the way. But cool, eh? Actual wild licorice plant. And then here we have a Japanese rose. It's actually more of a bright yellow, but the sun has set, so it's starting to get a little dark out, making it look a little orange, but it is yellow, trust me. And it makes a bush there. Nice shrub. That's probably about 7 feet tall. Really, really nice. And I just think it's so cool because it's so different than a traditional rose, but they are related. And it doesn't have as many thorns, or like any thorns actually, now that doesn't have any thorns, which is super cool. And then the flowers are just so mini, and they're like a very bright yellow. Don't know, it's kind of looking orange on the video, but I guess because the sunset, it's struggling with the light. But this is, or also known as Japanese Korea. And then this is not a tree, so I will not count this on the list, but it's like a very nice bluish purple hue, and it gets covered in those little flowers, and it's called Viper's Bug Loss. So I wouldn't actually recommend anyone plant this. If it's out in nature and you see it, just admire it out in nature, because I planted it here a few years ago and it does spread like a weed. So I would caution anyone to not really plant that in your garden, but it is still gorgeous though. So I thought I would share that. And again, these won't count for the tree tally, but I've got a pink and white Cosmo. These were seeds from my mom, and I planted them in the garden and they sprouted and they've done really well. And I really like the white one. It's got like mostly white but pink edges. Like, isn't that gorgeous? And then here we have a rose bush, but it is kind of like a tree. Because if you look at the base here, it is growing pretty big, like a tree, and it's almost 6 feet tall, so I think this would count. It's called iceberg rose, and it's a nice, beautiful white, and as the flowers start to fade and like wilt, they kind of turn a bit pink, which I just think this is really gorgeous plant, so just wanted to share this one as well. I think this one counts. And there's still some roses coming. Then right beside the Japanese rose, or Japanese Korea, right beside it, we've got a weeping larch, which I just think that is so cool. And they're so soft and nice to the touch. Nice, beautiful green with a little bit of glauca kind of at the end of the branches. And I just like how it kind of just, it's like a little waterfall. I just think that that's very pretty. Now you can see it's got the arch because it's drooping over. Whoop. And larch, weeping larch. All right, it's starting to get a little too dark to video, so I thought I would end on this one. This is a, it's going to turn into a little shrub, a little tree. Not a tree, I should say, but a shrub. It's the ivory dogwood, or white variegated dogwood. Very, very pretty. Really love the leaf color on it. This is one I would also really recommend. It's not a very difficult one to take care of. And I mean, if you compare it to, I mean, these are also really beautiful plants. Like, these are heucheras. Heucheras come in a bunch of different colors. And there's a fern, Japanese painted fern, and lily, which was my grandma's. Or actually not this one, but Tristan got me this one last year. It's got the orange tiger lily. This one here, this one was my grandma's, which has nice pink. Those are lilies. But this one here, you can just see like the white on it makes it really, really pop, eh? Like, and yeah, so I hope you liked the little tour. There was some more I could have shared, but I just, the sun is setting and I don't want to, take too much of your time there, but I hope that that inspired some plants for the garden. This is an echinacea, beautiful pink, and plumbago, nice blue. But subscribe if you like this video, and smash the like button and subscribe down below. And thanks for watching. And then here we have a new cat. Hi! She actually bit me on my knee. It's mostly healed now, but they look like two little vampire bites. So she's really friendly, but then she kind of snapped at me one time, and I'm not sure if she's in heat because she acts a little strange. Hi! I named her Blossom. She's a good girl. I've been putting out kibble for her because I think that she's a stray, and she was starving, and she looked so skinny that gave her some food. However, Blossom does not get along with Timber, Marley, or Topaz, so we got to go in, okay? Because I don't want you guys fighting. Come on, Timber. This is my good boy. And I'm going to go and I'm going to refill her food bowl for her. So hopefully Blossom is okay. I feel bad for all those stray cats, and it's just not fair. And here we have a LED glow light tree, which I just love this because it don't need water. You just gotta plug it in, and the lights don't get hot on it, so you can literally leave it plugged in like year round. Me and Tristan, we originally got this as a Christmas decoration, and I even threw some tinsel in there, which actually makes it light up even more. Nice silver tinsel in there. And yeah, obviously this isn't a real tree, but if you like this, this video is not sponsored by Canadian Tire, but I know I've mentioned Canadian Tire a few times now, and that's where we got this LED light tree. Super awesome. Yeah, so it's editing Billy here. It's actually the next day now. Well, it's past midnight. It's because it's like 1:30 in the morning. So it's September 14th. So 8 days till the equinox. I just wanted to say special thank you if you watched all the way to the end. It took me over an hour walking around in the garden, and then it took me like 3-4 hours to edit it. So just wanted to say a special thank you to everyone who made it to the end. And if you haven't subscribed, I would be honored if you would subscribe. If you enjoyed the content. If you didn't, no big deal. There's lots of YouTubers find stuff. I don't post videos very often, so the algorithm hates me because you gotta post like 2-3 times a week, and I'm just not doing that. But every once in a while I can promise you a really long video.